Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Blasphemer, The Sixth Hour, out January 24th on Candlelight Records. This album has 12 tracks, 42 minutes in length, and this is the band's third full-length studio album, being the first album that they released with their new label, Candlelight Records. This is a concept album that takes you through the way of the cross, the last day in the life of Jesus Christ. The idea is to create a musical soundtrack that really paints the picture of what he went through that day, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Now, the way to deliver that picture is with really gritty death metal and a lot of black metal influences. That is the perfect blend, in my opinion, in order to deliver the stories that they're trying to deliver with this record. The album listing is in chronological order, and to me that's a must. If you're going to have a concept like this, if you're going to have a storytelling record that has this sort of premises, you really have to have the chronological order of the story represented on the track listing of the album. And they do that. So that to me is an absolute bonus, because it allows you as a listener to feel engaged with the record. It's almost like reading a book. You feel engaged with the record, you get in on the first track, you want to know how the story progresses, how the story goes, and you stay within that story all the way to the end of the album. Musically, the album offers you really heavy drums and really gritty guitars and vocals. The way the vocals come at you, not only they have this grittiness to it, they also have this very somber feel at the same time, this darkness to it. So it has a mix of emotions, but the guitars and vocals to me have very similar sound-like elements that give a lot of texture, that give a lot of atmosphere to the album. The drums are just heavy. But they're not always heavy in the forefront of the album. Sometimes they're heavy, but they play more of a background role on the record. They really alternate their tempos and their momentums as far as moving more into the forefront and being more of a destabilizing force, or of a driving force, if you will, of the album. Sometimes moving more into the background and being there more to set the mood, to set the tempo of the tracks or the tempo of the record in that specific song. So that's the dynamic sound-wise that this album has to offer. I also really like the fact that they included 2 instrumental tracks on the album. The first one is Blessed Are the Wombs That Never Bore, is an acoustic instrumental track. Absolutely beautiful. And it comes at a time that really breaks the record, but it comes at a perfect time because it's a time of reflection within the story. So I really like the fact that they included an acoustic track at that moment. It may seem out of place when you're listening to the album, for an album that's this aggressive, to have an acoustic track in that specific spot. But when you look at the overall story that the album is telling you, it makes perfect sense why it's there. And it kind of resets your mind, and it resets your senses as far as the rest of the record is concerned. The second instrumental track is Via Dolorosa, and this to me is actually one of my favorite tracks overall on the record. Really heavy, filled with aggression, filled with intensity. I absolutely love this song. It has just so much power. It just has so much built-in emotion. So I absolutely love this track. Very representative of the name of the song itself. So I also like what they did there. They went with a song that brings the name of the song and the portion of the story that you're in to life. Now, the overall mood of each song really represents where you are in the story. I also feel like the way they created this album, they allow you to put yourself almost in the position of the main character, in this case, Jesus Christ, and feel his decay, his physical decay, his emotional decay, his mental state decays as the album progresses, as his life nears its end. So that to me is present both in the lyrical content, in the way they're telling you the story, but also in the music behind each and every single song. I really like that. I like that the songs have their own mood, have their own atmosphere. They really represent the lyrics and the point of the story that they're in. I love that idea. It just really brings the concept to life. Vocally, the vocals are absolutely incredible. They're demonic at times. They really feel demonic. So it's almost like the story's not being told by an angel, rather by a demon. And perhaps making you rethink of the whole process that Jesus went through on that day, everything that he encountered on that day, from a completely different perspective than what we're used to get when people tell that story now. So I really like that aspect. The vocals really played a huge role into that, because the vocals have this built-in demonic feel to it that just really enhances the overall story and the overall grittiness and life that this album has. Overall, if you didn't know Blasphemer by now with their previous 2 releases, you will know them after this album, because this album is phenomenal. I love the concept, I love the idea, I love how they put it together, I love how they create it, and everything surrounding this album, in my opinion, screams a lot of work and attention to detail, but they deliver a magnificent record with the 6th Hour. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I really want to mention 3 tracks that I really enjoyed. And that is, I want to start off with Let Him Be Crucified, which is the opening track on the album. Great opening track, because it's really the calling card for the story and for what you're going to get into for the rest of the album. Is heavy, is relentless, is dark, is aggressive. The heaviness of the drums with the darkness that the guitar riff has, and the vocals added to that really creates an overall menacing track. This track is really menacing, is really somber. I mean, the story, the part of the story that it tells, the topic of conversation is really somber. So they created a song that really reflected the lyrics, that reflected the story that they're telling you. The change in the tempo in the last third really leads itself into a guitar solo that is absolutely incredible. I love the guitar solo on this track. One of my favorite guitar solos on the album. It really elevates the song. The drums stay heavy during the guitar solo, but they stay heavy more in the background, waiting for the solo to finish before they explode into the forefront. The song finishes off with the same aggression that it started, so it's one of those tracks that absolutely goes full circle. Next, Lord of Lies. Blistering drums on this song. The riff really matches, the guitar riff really matches that aggressiveness that the drums have. Not change, it's one song that doesn't change intensity or aggression from the verses to the chorus, so you don't feel a dip between those 2 momentums of the song. You feel the song is actually pretty linear in its approach. It's aggressive, it's intensive from the beginning all the way to the end. It doesn't matter if it's chorus or verses. What it changes is very so slightly. There's a guitar riff melody that really changes when you get into the chorus that lets you know that you're there. The chorus is also simple, has one very simple line, which is Lord of Lies. So it adds to the simplicity of the song. It adds a little bit of hookiness, a little bit of catchiness, but it works extremely well. Following the second chorus, you get the solos. And there's more than one. There's one, then you get some vocals that come in, and then you get the second solo. The solos in this specific song really bring the darkness that the song has and explodes them into the track. It's a really well balanced song, but to me the solos play a huge factor on this track because the song has a lot of darkness. The solos are not melodic. The solos are a lot darker in its melody. I mean, they're still melodic, but they're a lot darker in its melody. So the solos really captivate all the darkness. They just draw to themselves all the darkness that the track has and then burst that darkness onto the track. Love this song. Last but not least, the 6th Hour, which is the name of the album. One of my favorite songs on the record. If not my favorite song, I'm tempted to say that this is my favorite song on the record. I love the great opening riff that it has. Very methodic, heavy, slow, like has a drag out effect to it. The heavy drums behind it, it really shadows that heaviness that the track has, that darkness that the guitar riff has, all the way until the vocals kick in. When the vocals kick in, then I felt that the drums kicked into more of the forefront. They became more of the driving force of the track. They had more of a predominant role. The song really transmits the message of the lyrics. To me, this is one song that you really feel connected to because you could almost close your eyes and picture what the lyrics are telling you. That is the atmosphere that this song has. The church bells add a really sinister vibe to the track, really dark, something almost out of the movie Omen. It creates a really dark embrace to the track, and then the riff and the drums that follow those church bells are just absolutely destructive. They're heavy, they just really bulldoze everything in its path all the way to the end of the song. The closing portion of this song, that combination of heavy drums with heavy guitar riff, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's just absolutely death metal at its best. It just destroys everything. It gets all the black metal. This is one song that when it finishes, it feels like all the black metal has been stripped out of the track. All you're getting is really heavy death metal all the way towards the end. Guys, this is it. This is Blasphemer, the 6th Hour, out January 24th on Candlelight Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those as always and getting back to you. Take care, guys.